and welcome to the stream. Uh, just give me one moment, see if this all works. Does it stream properly in every direction? Yeah, looks good. Awesome, cool. Well, first of all, happy Tuesday and welcome to a new week. I hope those of you who have had a chance to rest over the Easter weekend had a nice long weekend. I for sure had basically off since Friday and Monday, so pretty good. Gave me a time to rest, even though at home office, sometimes when we're working from home this long, we take home as the workplace and we keep working 24/7 because you're never leaving your workplace. So it's a good time to kind of maybe just step back a bit from work and do something you actually, enjoy wasting your time on. Let's call it that way. So, what is planned for today? I know I actually just tweeted this morning the today's session, but that was I kind of planned before. But today we're gonna do something regarding Amazon Workspaces. Let me just switch to this thing here, and yeah, so we're gonna be looking at Amazon Workspaces today because a lot of people ask me about them. Ask me about, hey, how does one use Workspaces? Is there something special about them? What's the deal with them? Now, today's stream is going to be less technical. I mean, there's going to be technical things as well, but it's Amazon Workspaces is, at least from the onset, pretty simple service. But why should use it, especially in this now time of all of us sitting at home and finding a good way to work from home. And also, a lot of things I'm going to be talking about today are kind of applicable for enterprise type workloads. If you work for a company which has a lot of employees, Workspaces makes a lot of sense for you, right? For smaller organizations, maybe not as much, but again, still worth a try, right? I would say it's especially in the next couple of months. So today being April 2020, I think until June 2020 or June 30th, 2020, Amazon offers a free usage up to 50 users of Amazon Workspaces. So, it kind of helps handle the situation we're all in. So, what is Workspaces, right? Actually, let me go here and move this here and this here, and then I need to find that and that. So, what is Amazon Workspaces? Well, it's a desktop as a service, right? It basically provides you desktops in the cloud. So think of it as I used to work for a company where we used to provision applications through Citrix, right? So think of it as something like that. But in this case, you're not just provisioning applications; you're provisioning entire workstations or desktops. So I showed a while ago a stream on Cloud9 where you get this browser-based IDE, which is great. But if you want something like a fully fledged desktop, you could either launch an EC2 instance and just RDP into it. Or maybe a Linux instance, set up a X11 GUI on it, and VNC into it, or RDP, or whatever is your cup of tea. You can set up your own Citrix /Zen Microsoft remote. How do they call it right now? When I used to work with it was called Microsoft Remote Desktop Services, I believe. You can set up your own server like that, or you can just click a couple of buttons and have a fully fledged desktop provision for you with all of the bells and whistles. So I'm gonna kind of lead you through all of this on the console right now. How do you provision these workspaces? There's some prerequisites you must have for workspaces as well, and we're gonna just have a look at a few of those things as well. All right, I have a few people who have been returning to my stream. I know a few of you. That's very good. I like seeing people who come often to the stream, and I hope my twice a week schedule is not too much. But yeah. Okay, so how do you get started with Workspaces? Well, you find this Workspaces entry in the vast sea of services on the AWS Management Console. Also, I must stress. I when I do these kind of things, I say working with Workspaces, and I kind of assume that everybody knows that I'm talking about AWS or Amazon Workspaces, but I might be really biased, right? So even when I submit a talk on a like a third-party conference, I submit a talk with a generic name which makes sense if you're coming to an AWS session or an AWS conference, because you know I'm speaking about an AWS product. But sometimes I need to really mention that the workspaces are actually Amazon workspaces. It's a product from AWS. You use it on AWS. So it's not something you run in your own data center. So workspaces, as I mentioned, it's a desktop as a service solution. There's a couple of flavors you can do it. Actually, two of them, to be fair. You can launch both Linux and Windows workspaces. So Linux was released, I think 2 years ago or something like that. I know I used to still work in premium support, and I remember when they launched Linux, the beta version of it, it was really cool, right? So if you wanted a Linux workstation in the cloud, it got much easier. Because from time to time, tend to have a requirement to run some Linux specific desktop application, or I would require a Linux desktop environment in the cloud. You can do that with an EC2 instance. It took a lot of effort, right? You have to set up X11 and VNCs and all those things. It wasn't the best thing. You could do X11 forwarding. It took a lot more effort than I wish to invest into it. But with workspaces, it's just a couple of button clicks away. Now, the elephant in the room. One of the things you are required to have with workspaces, and this is very important, especially when we talk about how workspaces is free right now, you still must have some sort of a directory. When I say directory, I mean Active Directory or a simple directory or simple AD that is within your AWS account. So because workspaces actually rely on directories for authentication, right? So when your user logs into a Windows instance or into a Linux instance, it uses basically this directory for all of that, right? This is where you get using permissions, etc., etc. So this is something that you need. One of the things that I found super simple to do this is, AWS Simple Directory, right? Simple AD. So Simple AD is a simple Active Directory. So it's not a Microsoft Active Directory. It's super simple. It's a relatively low cost. There's two kind of versions. There's small and large. The small one is like up to 500 users, right? So roughly 2,000 objects, including users, groups, computers, and all the things you would have in an Active Directory. And when it comes to pricing, let's have a look. I believe it's around $30-some. Simple AD pricing. See, I don't know that prices off the top of my head. But if you go to, let me just move to AU Ireland, Simple AD, with a small one is 0.055 cents an hour. I think there's a breakdown here. Okay, so 24 hours, 30 days a week, $36 a month. So this gives you a directory which can you use for 500 users. Now this directory is not limited only to workspaces. It works for other services just as WorkDocs and Workmail and a whole lot of different things that you kind of have a support. It's an Active Directory, so you can do a lot of those things with an Active Directory, Simple AD. So that's something you need to do. So how do you do that? You create setup directory. Now, also, that's very important. Simple AD is not yet supported in all regions. For example, my closest region is Frankfurt, but there's no Simple AD in Frankfurt. So I would have to use Microsoft AD or an AD connector. A managed Microsoft AD is basically just a deployed Microsoft Active Directory within your account. AD connector is a connector to your local Active Directory. So if your company has a local domain controller, Active Directory, anything that manages the local computers, you can connect that directory to the directory service and use that as well within your workspaces. So I'm just going to with Simple AD. That's fine. It runs on Linux technically, right? I'm just going to use a small one. See, $39 a month, roughly, right? I'll give it a name. What shall we call it? I know SQL Heisenberg here. I'm going to call it SQL Heisenberg. SQL Heisenberg. Right. That's my company name. The DNS name will be corp SQL Heisenberg.com. And the .bas I'm just going to leave empty. The password was super secure. Password 123, right? Don't steal my AD, please. And the disk, not simple enough. Is it good now? It's not. Okay. Cool. Description is this is stream directory delete me. Yes. Next, I will select which VPC should it run, because here's the thing: when you create workspaces, they will be created within the networking confines of your AWS account, right? And you need to specify a VPC for this. For example, I'll simple ID VPC. I don't care which subnet do I want. Click next, and that's it. Finish, right? So I would create a directory here. I'm not gonna do that because it takes a while, because it kind of provisions this entire simple ID infrastructure in the backend, including cluster servers and whatnot. So I'm not going to do this as well. So, but yes, this is how you would create a simple ID. It takes a couple of minutes for it to provision. But I created one last night called Nakatomi Plaza because I needed a corporation name, and that's the first one I thought of. So I'm going to use Nakatomi Plaza as my nakatomi.plaza.net as my company or my directory where I'm going to be launching workspaces in. So again, this is also a small workspace directory. One of the things you can also do if you need to do it, so one of the things you can do here, if you go to directories, right? So I'm just going to the directory service page, you can see it here. If I go here, you will see that what things or what apps and services is this directory enabled for. So I have the management console, it's not. QuickSight, WorkDocs, WorkMail, Workspaces, and Workspace Application Manager. So now I don't have it enabled for these things, but if I like to go to WorkDocs. So WorkDocs is this, it's a document organization, a document management service with AWS. Basically, think of it as Google Docs without the built-in editor. So it's like you have a big old storage where you store your drives. It's a neat application. But let me actually create one here. I'll create one for Nakatomi. So instruct user to be workspace administrator. I have Darko as the administrator, I think. Yeah. Awesome. So I've created my WorkDocs, and this is the URL I'm going to be using for it. So if I would refresh this, I would see that it's enabled for WorkDocs. Well, it will be in a moment or so. Yeah. So, and you can also enable it for WorkMail, blah, 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 but I won't do this right now. So going back to Workspaces, let's actually get into the Workspaces aspect of it. So I've launched a simple ID. I made sure that this simple ID is within my region and VPC and whatnot, right? Within that VPC or within that directory, I have also enabled WorkDocs just for kicks, right? Why not? WorkDocs is a great collaboration tool. We use it internally to share documents between each other. Super great, right? Now, what I need to do is I need to launch a workspace. And I maybe need to create a user. I have already some existing users here, but I'll show you how you create a user as well. So I'll select my Nakatomi Plaza directory here, right? I have it already existing. Click next. Now I need to create a user. Who was in the Nakatomi Plaza? It was John, right? Or John. First name John. Ooh, McLean. Oh, how do you write John McLean? Is it like this? Ah, yes, John McLean. Yeah, for all of you who don't know, John McClane is Bruce Willis, and Nakatomi Plaza is from Die Hard. So yeah, I'm just gonna give him my email address just in case. John McClane, yeah, that's fine. Click the user. Coolio. So this user here, let me just move my face. This user here has been just created, and it has been added as an owner of this workspace. So click next. Now, here's a couple of options or bundles that we can use. So these are the pre-existing bundles that we have built into the workspaces. You can see here, there's Amazon Linux 2 and Windows 10. Basically, those are the two options you can launch here, OS-wise. There's a couple of different options when it comes to like some packages. For example, this Windows ones comes with Office 2016, but the other bundle changes are basically the capabilities of this EC2 instance, from the amount of virtual CPUs to memory, to even if you go down here, there's graphics instances which actually have GPUs on them that you can use for things such as CAD software, or even I've seen people use this as like a Steam machine, right? So you can basically have a graphics pro instance with Windows running on it, run Steam and use Steam Link, or stream basically Steam from that to your local laptop if you have a good internet connection. That's one of the options you can use as well. So, but one great example was made by my colleague Alex Casalboni. So it's dev to Alex Casalboni. Actually, regarding this, yeah, there it is. So it's regarding this entire situation and people who like to stream. Basically, he explained how you can use Workspaces, the graphics ones, as a streaming platform. Basically, you will use you can use Workspaces as like a place where you would run your OBS Studio. It will do all the encoding, and it will actually ship your screen or the thing you have running to Twitch or YouTube or wherever, without actually impacting your local workstation. So, for example, he tried to run this stream from his MacBook, and it would just overheat because of the encoding and decoding it has to do for Twitch. So this was a great implementation, basically through Skype or NDI with Skype to workstation graphics instance and OBS and Twitch. So pretty cool. That's a great use for Workspaces as well. But let me stick with Amazon. Well, actually, let's use Windows, right? Because that's just kind of what most people do here. Let me do that. I'll select that. That's perfectly fine. I don't have to do anything here. Oh, also, so there's one more option here as well. You see PCOIP? There is a version. Is it available here? It's not yet available. So I've seen a version which does not use PCOIP, or oh yeah, you can use WSP Beta. WSP Beta is a beta version of Workspaces streaming protocol. That it should be much more performant with WSP Beta. I have not tested it yet, but apparently it's better. It's still in beta. We don't recommend you guys running any production grade workloads with the WSP Beta one, but it's also good there. Now, yeah, this brings me to a great point. Workspaces. People ask me, so what was the difference between running a EC2 instance running Windows and a workspace? Well, an EC2 instance running Windows, you have to use RDP, right? With this, you use PCOIP or PC over IP, right? So this is the other protocol, PCOIP. And PCOIP is allegedly a lot more optimized, and also it can run on thin clients. So if you have like a thin client, like a Teradici client or something like that, you can run it there as well. There's also various ways you can run it on a tablet. You can run it on a web browser as well, which I'll show you later on. So there's a few other different things, plus the whole directory integration, plus application management, and yada yada yada. So auto stop and those things. So let me move down here. I need to remove my face because I don't see the next button. There we go. I'm just gonna, so this is also two things. There's two running modes, always on and auto stop. So if you run always on, you will be billed monthly. So if you enable always on, you will be billed once a month for the price of an instance. But if you do auto stop, you basically log hours, how much it's running, and based off of that, you pay, right? So depending on your use case, it might be cheaper to just have it always on. If you use it a lot per month, if you want this to be your primary, let's say, workhorse every day, always on might be much better. But if you use it like maybe a couple of times a week, auto stop might be better. Of course, you can do some encryption as you sometimes should. I'm gonna skip that for now and click the next step. And yeah, these are some just reviews. I'm just gonna auto stop as one, and then click Launch Workspace. Now, I'm not going to click Launch Workspace because I have them already, and it takes 20 minutes to launch. So it's a process. So if you decide to like launch or relaunch or rebuild whatever you want with your workspace, it takes 20 minutes. Why? I don't know. I guess it's a whole other procedure of actually provisioning these things. So even internally at Amazon, we use Workspaces for some corporate workspaces. Even there, it takes roughly 20 minutes to provision a workspace. So I'm going to cancel all of this. And I'm going to show you a couple of them I have. So here I have 2 workspaces. This one is stopped. See, I haven't used it in an hour. Let me start it. I have 2 workspaces here, one Windows one and one Linux one. So to move my face again, so the Linux one here, does it say here? Yeah, it's a performance with Amazon Linux 2. So to connect to it, first of all, you need to go to the clients.amazonworkspaces.com. So this is a page where it will take you to download the client for the workspaces, right? So you have clients, for Windows, iPad, Mac OS, Android tablets, Chromebooks, browsers, Fire tablets, and Linux as well. And also in this configuration of your workspace, you can actually define on which of these platforms can your workspace run on. So for example, you can deny web access completely, which is by default. I have my Mac OS client already, so I am gonna do this. So once you have opened your Workspaces client, one of the things you require is WSW, this registration code. This is just a registration code that you need to enter first time. Now I have it here, but I'm gonna act like I don't have it. So I'm just gonna basically enter this number here like that and click register. Now this workspace is provisioned to a user called Grunf, right? So if I do Grunf and give its password, again, super strong password, like that, and click sign in. Let's hope this works. Yeah. So it's launching a session. And as you can see here, this is running a Linux workspace. So it's running an Amazon Linux workspace. It's just, like a full-on Linux thing. If you do this, and then let me just zoom in maybe a bit. So I'm user corp/ground, so it's an Active Directory or a simple Active Directory user. Page top, do I have it? No, I have free m, right? Prot. So CPU info, yeah. So yeah, it's running on a it's basically running on a EC2 instance, to be fair. And if we look here, made system monitor. Yeah, so it's running Amazon Linux. It's actually running Amazon Linux 2 on 8 gigs of RAM. It's running a Xeon CPU as well. It has a whole bunch of standard thing, process, CPU, files, systems, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, basically that's how you would run a Linux instance. And again, this is an Amazon Linux, so it uses Yum Package Manager. So yeah. And it uses your passwords, right? Linux in itself does not have a Workspaces client, but if you would have it, you can enable it here as well. But I just don't have it existing yet. Well, there's no Workspaces client locally for the desktop, but you can access it through the web browser anyway. Yeah. So if you ever wanted a Linux workstation here, like with some specific, let's say you like GIMP and the GIMP on Mac OS doesn't work okay, or doesn't work on Windows as well, you can use it as on a Linux system as well. So pretty neat, right? So this was useful for me, especially if I wanted to nmap something, or do some things with a Linux system where I would potentially like to have a virtual desktop, a full-on virtual desktop like this, right? Also, one more thing I need to specify here is, let's go here, preferences, displays. So this is kind of the things that it sets it up from remote desktop. It's actually using a kind of this PC over IP, so there's a few things it supports. It actually sees it as a monitor, but one of the things I can do here is view enter full screen on all displays. Now, you may not see this, but on my second screen, because I have my laptop basically outputting to HDMI and on the second screen. But basically what happens right now, let me just go here and click on system and I have to do it here. I have two monitors. So basically it allows you to full screen across, I think up to 4 monitors. And you can get 4 times 4K, I believe, on standard instances. So if you want to have something on spread across multiple displays, you know, you have a full-on multi-monitor setup at home, you can use desktop workspaces actually for something like that. So it's pretty cool, right? It gives you that possibility as well. How do I get out? It should be somewhere here. Come on. So I do it here, like that. I switch to that, and let's go the old way of killing it. Bye-bye. So yeah, I have basically, this is how a Linux workstation looks and how we would run it on a full screen. Let's have a look at the Windows one. And also the Windows one here, let's try to access it through the web interface. So if I go to web access and add the registration code, again, the same thing as here. Now, one of the things about the web interface is that it's not as performant as the one on your desktop. You can see some artifacting when you look at it. So the artifacting here is not because it's not because of the stream, but it's because the actual web client is just a bit busted. I wouldn't say busted, it just has lower fidelity. So this one is Darko, yeah. Actually, does my stream work? Okay, good. I've been struggling with internet today as well, so I'm just wondering, does it all look good? Seems like it's fine. Yeah. Okay, so login successful, click continue. Okay. There you go. Now it should open basically my Windows desktop here, hopefully. It worked a minute ago. Well, we actually just brought it up from the dead, so maybe it just takes a moment or so to start up. Send Control Delete. No, it's still not. Let disconnect and try to do it again. You know how browsers are fiddly from time to time. So up until recently, the workspaces, the browser didn't work as super great. It works on Firefox and Chrome, so it works best on Firefox and Chrome. So I actually managed to run it on Brave browser. To an extent, it did fail on me at one point, so hopefully Chrome should be better. Famous last words, right? Login successful, continue. It should not tell me that. Interesting. Well, actually, I tried it with a Linux client, and it was pretty simple. Maybe if I just give it a minute. You don't know. But while that is happening, let me just show you one of the things we have here. If you go to directories, let me actually go to this directory here. Okay, so I have Waples on YouTube writing. I had it working with Qt browser a while back. Don't know it still works. I believe it does. I did try it on with Qt browser, and it was working okay. So I see no problem. Qt browser, I believe, uses a lot of the Gecko browser framework, so I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work. for me, for some reason, doesn't. It could be due to the workspace in itself, but yeah. Just one more thing to mention here. You can update some details here on the directory itself. So when it comes to the directory, you can define like, do your workspaces here have access to the internet or not? This is where you do it. You can enable local admins or not. So you can basically disable people from having local admin access to their directory. Also, when you do go to access control options, you can enable which platforms can you access workspaces from. Like, for example, I could have disabled web access in iOS and Linux. I could just enable, you can only access it from, 0 clients, etc. Right? So those kind of things. So you can disable those things as well. You can change the stuff here. So that's how you would, for example, prevent web access. By default, web access is off. So also Linux access is off. So you need to enable that. Has this woken up from the dead? Nope. For some reason, this doesn't work for me. It worked a minute ago, I promise. Let me try with Firefox, right? Which one is this? So it's the client or workspaces. Is this one? Let's do web access and then close this. I need my registration code. It's this one, right? It's the Windows one. Yeah, Windows 10. It says Windows 10, but it's actually Windows Server, so but it's the same thing basically. Where are you? Okay. Now, if I would try to log in as a different user, I would not be able to do so. So it would fail me, because the other user, Grunf, has access to the other workspace. Okay, let's see how this works. Again, this worked for me, no problem, a moment ago. So, well, not a moment ago, an hour ago. Okay, I have a fallback. I'm gonna just use the desktop thingy if this doesn't work. But one of the things I want to show you here as well is applications. There's a way. There's this called WAM, or Workspace Application Manager. It's basically a way that you can allow self-service of applications to your end users, right? So let's say you want to create a new application. So, well, no, actually, let me find an application. There's two ways. There's to create your own application, so your line of business application, something you have locally, for example, your whatever, your accounting piece of software or CRM or something that you have, like your line of business thing, right? Or you can do something from the AWS Marketplace. So I will add an application here for the AWS Marketplace. For example, let me add something that we don't have to pay and looks cool. Mozilla Firefox is already installed. Cloudberry Drive for S3. Let's use that, right? Or Eclipse. Let's look at Eclipse. I think Eclipse is a bloated piece of software, but let's try it anyway. Move my face. I'll accept terms and subscribe. It's a free piece of software. I'll just accept the subscription. That's all. I'm going to return to my application catalog. And if I go here and look at my applications here, you will see that I have Putty installed, and I have Eclipse. One of the things I can do is on Eclipse, I can assign applications to users, right? So I want to assign this application to Darko. Search, that's Darko. Select Darko, add them here, move here, click next, review and confirm and assign. Now Darko will be able to pick this application up from within his workspace, right? Has this changed? No. For some reason, the web thing doesn't work. Anywho, let's try to log into this one by via the means of just a desktop client. So WSDub to QPTS. So workspaces. I'm gonna change my registration code. This one. Was it the same thing? Yeah, it's the same thing. It just depends on who logs in, right? Oh, there you go. So let's do this. Darko. So this should hopefully work now. Famous last words, right? I did not have luck with these two. So the Linux one works, but the Linux one doesn't have application management. The Windows one does. So I really wish I could log into it. Unable to connect. Let me try again. Did I break it somehow with my exit from the Linux one, the bad exit? Maybe. Actually, let me just tear this one down because I don't need it. So to move it, just remove workspace. It's gonna remove that one. Here it's still launching session. Doesn't really work. Let me try to restart it. Reboot workspace. So it takes about 5 minutes for it to happen. So while that is happening, so it's available. That's fine. There's also one of the things when speaking about application management, there's 2 subscriptions to WAM. There's the light one, which is free. It kind of gives you the limited subset of things you can do. You know, you can only deploy applications that are from the marketplace, and you can just give them the ability to subscribe to those applications. So you cannot like deploy your applications, etc. For the WAM standard thing, this is where you would actually, it costs $5 a month, but it gives you the ability to use your own line of business applications and custom applications and whatnot. So a lot of different things you can do here on WAM standard. And for $5 per user per month, that especially, you know, if you're depending on workspaces for something long term, I think that makes sense. In this situation, if you're gonna use workspaces for just you run the mill, working from home or having like a remote desktop at anywhere. And I'll give you an example. So I have, you know, many and all times, you know, my job requires a lot of travel. So at times I would have, you know, I would require access to my corporate email and the VPN doesn't work very good, or there's some issues with my laptop, whatnot, right? So I can just pick up my tablet, right? I can pick up my tablet here, my Samsung Galaxy thing, and I can log in by using the Workspaces client, which I have enabled here for, I have it installed, I believe. I have not removed it. I can just use that to log into my corporate workspace, my Amazon provision corporate workspace, where I have my office applications, my email, my access to all of our internal tooling. So it kind of helps gives me this portability of what I do. So it's not just a matter of having a remote desktop to somewhere to do things. It just, I know folks who work with me who don't have laptops. They literally just have an iPad and just use an iPad and for these kind of things. For a lot of times that can be sufficient, right? Especially if the internet works okay. I see no reason why to give up on that. So this thing is still rebooting. Takes about 5 minutes because Windows, right? But you can also, like, when we look at the bundles, there's no custom bundles. So we can create your own bundles as well, right? So basically you can modify your own workspace image to make one for yourselves, right? So if you want to have like a built-in applications to an existing bundle, you can do that from here as well. Going back here, let's attempt to log in, right? So why not? It may fail, most likely will, but let's see. Cool. Unable to log in. Yeah, it takes a moment. It's still in the rebooting phase. So the things with Workspaces, they all take a long time. Right? They all take just a... There's a lot of waiting involved. So when I was doing like my kind of preparations, 5 minutes because it's Windows, right? Exactly, right? Yeah, or I don't know. It's not my thing to judge, right? Hey, Kaurin. Hey, Superata. There you go. I think I know you all. There you go. A lot of familiar faces here. Hello. So while I'm waiting, has anybody from chat tried Workspaces before? Or does anybody have war stories with Workspaces? Well, Waples did. He mentioned that he used to run it in Qt browser. Okay, Waples on YouTube, he says yes, he did. Waples, which one would you use, Windows or Linux? And Kaurin says, I'm watching you, so I have to do. There you go. So we're booting, right? Waples use Linux, of course. There you go. So I'm pretty happy that there's a Windows. The problem with the Windows one is it's running Amazon Linux too. So if you want to install a lot of the run-of-the-mill applications you would like to do with a package manager in Yum, you don't have them enabled by default. So you have to either use the extras one, or it takes some effort. It's not simple as jumping onto an Ubuntu box and just using apt install. For some things, it's just not there, right? But yeah. Wow, that's a long reboot. Connection state disconnected. So maybe we should use Cloud9 then, right? There's a need for Cloud9, and there's a need for desktops as well. So I wouldn't doing update. Maybe it's updating, right? There you go. Restarting your workspace process may take a few minutes. Whipple said, you're trying to convince your developers to use Linux instead of Windows. So yeah. So this is a religious question now. So why wouldn't a developer not use a Linux box instead of, why would a developer use Windows instead of Linux in this case? I understand if you're doing something .NET specific, even then you may do it. Or if you are reliant on Cloud9 on Visual Studio. Cloud9 was some of the test group went for Entity. Absolutely. So Cloud9 is great. I find it very useful. So for my use case, for just development, I find Cloud9 super useful. So also for doing demos, as I don't have to worry about my workstation not performing properly. But yeah, this is still doing update, right? Okay, it's available. It should be available. Now let's see. Unable to connect. Couldn't launch your workspace. Please try again if you need help. Okay, come on. You should do it. Now, if I would like to try and launch a new one, it would take another 20 minutes. And I don't want to just sit silent on stream and just for 20 minutes saying, let's wait for this to happen. There you go. It doesn't work for some reason. So let me have a look. This thing has connections. Let's see. How does the network look? So it actually has like a little network thing. It checks, does your network allow connections to this? And it does, right? So let me see if I did my registration code correctly. Like such. Change registration code. It's the one, yeah. Cool. Couldn't launch workspace. Shall we try web access again? Maybe. I don't know what confused it. I really don't know what happened here. Why did it confuse it? Hello, good evening. You're late. Don't worry, you're being late. There's going to be a recording of this if you're really interested in seeing what we did here. So it's okay. It's Monday basically, right? Still says connecting. I don't know what's happening. are there some logs? Now, when it comes to logs, the thing is, I don't think there's a lot of things we can have a look at here. Let's have a look at actions. Reboot, stop, rebuild, remove, modify. No, the thing is, in this case, like if something actually goes bad, like a reboot or a rebuild would actually help a lot, but there's no logs to speak of in this case, right? So it does not ship out logs to anywhere else besides just here, right? So there's not a lot of troubleshooting we can do directly, unfortunately. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, the last thing, I actually didn't upload the last one. It's available on Twitch, but it's still not available on YouTube. Oh, see, let me just try something. I want to say this might be a problem with my laptop for some reason. I'm actually running this through my desktop, and let me try this on my own. So you're not gonna be seeing anything right now, but let me try to change my registration code. So it should be WS dub plus, what is the code here? 2SQ BTS, right? Let's see if this works for my desktop. I just want to confirm that, is this a problem with my laptop right now, or something to do with this, or is the actual workspace busted? It works for my desktop. Okay, it works for my desktop. That's very good. Let me. Hey, Whipples. Oh, you're back on Twitch. My TV doesn't support Twitch, hence why I'm commenting on YouTube. That is fine. I'm streaming this to like 3 platforms just to help engage people, right? So, yeah. And kernel memory dump says desktop master race. There you go. Yes. Bokyo says connection connection unknown. I don't know what's with my connection. So this thing is still at connecting. So it could really be up to my laptop for some, but I'm disconnected through. I'm not connected on VPN, right? So this would be my corporate VPN. I am not connected through here. Let me try again. If not, I may have to. Oh, there you go. It works, right? So. Oh, thank you, Shoki, for subscription with Twitch Prime. Wow, that's generous. Oh, okay. So what you see right now, it's actually deployed on 2 screens. It's sitting on both my laptop screens. So if you would go here and go display settings, you will see. Well, you will not see. I will see that it's running on 2 screens right now. But let me actually do something here. I want to make this one. See, I cannot do some things here. It's kind of. Some of the things are managed by my sysadmin, so there are some limitations. But there's this lovely little application icon on your desktop once you log in, and also, yeah, this is the Windows one, right? So if you have a look at the Windows one, very similar to the Linux experience, right? I think this one is even like a smaller instance type. It has only 4 gigs of RAM, yeah, and it has 2 virtual CPUs. So if I would go to view, change graph to logical processors, it has only 2 cores, but it's running on a server in itself. So if I click Amazon WAM, and this should bring up not that, right? So it should bring up something like this. So this thing here is my Workspaces application manager thing, and my apps, and there should be on the Discover button here 2 applications that the user Darko has access to. So you see me add Eclipse and add Putty. So if I would add Putty or Putty or Putty, you can just install it like such. So on let's say, imagine in a corporate environment, you have all of your users running Workspaces and giving them the ability to just set up applications like this. I mean, we have a very similar approach in my company, but using some other piece of software that basically gives us the ability to deploy applications. So if you look here now, I have putty installed as well. So this is right. So this is the default tool you need on Windows if you want to be a sysadmin, or at least a Linux admin. But you can do that now with Windows Subsystem for Linux as well. And also, let's have a look at the big application. Let's see how the Eclipse Ide looks in. So again, it takes a moment for it to install, but it will basically install Eclipse with a single click. And myself, I can see which applications I have installed here. I see Eclipse failed because I don't have Java. So yeah, didn't think that through. So I could have just installed Java. Apparently it doesn't handle the dependency, but you can see which application I have installed here. If I go here, I can uninstall or open it and all those things. So it gives me the ability to do these things. So pretty cool, right? Now again, like before, I have a fully fledged version of Windows running here. Like it says Windows 10, but in essence it's Windows Server. So because you can see here, you have Windows Server Manager as well, right? So it's technically running a Windows Server 2019, or is it 2016? Right? Is that the thing? 2016. So it's running Windows Server 2016. Yeah. Again, running on an EC2 instance at the end of the day, but it's running with an Active Directory in mind. So I'm logged in through the Active Directory. So if I look at users, you'll see that Darko is logged in. It's not some EC2 user. It's me logged in through the simple AD thing I have set up. Bokyo asks, can you install Eclipse directly like downloading? Absolutely. So you can do it's a bog standard Windows setup. So if I would install Java, so JRE, right? So if I would Java, right? Java runtime. If I would find Java and accept cookies, and is this fine? Yeah, agree and download. If I would install Java and download Eclipse from anywhere, it just works. You're not limited to anything, Bokyo. You basically can do anything like you would do on any normal Windows setup. So the predefined applications are kind of just a simple way to help you provision applications to your end users. Mind you, workspaces are a lot of times used by people who are not very experienced with these kind of things, right? So think of it as end users, right? Or people who are using this as their workstations or whatnot, right? So and if you want to deploy them Office, just click a button and deploy Office. Now, one of the things I haven't tested here is can you actually install Eclipse or any of these software without being an administrator? I imagine you would, but I'm not quite sure. Let me just install Java as we talk, right? So it's what people do. Chucky asks, brilliant to see this in action. I always wanted to VMware Horizon Architect. But so I've heard a lot of people compare this to VMware Horizon. But to be fair, I have not had a chance to play with it. But I guess if it's desktop as a service thing, it's very similar, right? So it's kind of that solution, but just purely in the cloud. So, and you're welcome, quite. Superats asks, what would be the best cases for workspaces besides OBS streaming? Best use cases for workspaces is you can run, like, if you have a corporate environment that's heavily reliant on VPN or sitting behind corporate firewalls, you have your internal applications that are only accessible through that. Instead of using VPN, you can use something as a corporate workspace, which potentially is more secure, and it gives you access from anywhere, just barring that you have the proper application running. So something like that is much better, right? So I have Java installed now. I really want to just try it if I can install the Eclipse thing now. Oh, it's still. I would need to restart it, right? So can I kill this? Oh, Shoki. Fingers crossed. Looking forward to that. All the best of luck to you, and I hope the loop was it's always a fun thing, right? Amazon Workspaces, let me end task, let's do that, and let me start again. Is it still installing? No, it's not. So install, let's see if this works. Toughest thing you've done. Okay, okay. So Chucky's talking about AWS Loop. It is tough. I must say, I did my AWS Loop 4 years ago now, almost 4.5 years ago, and it was like 5 or 6 interviews. It was really tough, but yeah, it's a great experience, I must say. Like, it's different than a lot of other places, but yeah. So let's see, is Eclipse installed? It says it is. So it says it's installed. Let me try to open it. It's opening on the other screen. I'll drag it up. See? Booyah. Yeah, also one more thing you have to understand here is that there's a slight difference when it comes to your directory structures on this system. Due to it being a workspace, and it can be a shared workspace, you only have access to the D drive, the user profile drive. So this is where all of your applications go and all the things you want to install in. So you don't have access to the C disk. Focus 5 interviews a day. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 5 interviews in a single day. There's 7 in total. So basically you do like 2 over the phone, and there's 5 on site or via Chime. So it's pretty exhausting, I must say. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is how basically a Windows workspace looks like. Again, there's not a lot of things to cover here, but it's pretty cool, especially if you want to kind of oh, I can leave full screen. So especially if you want to kind of cover things now, especially you want to do things remotely, or you would like to have a way to provision kind of like workstations for your end users remotely. And I'm not talking always about IT professionals here. I'm talking about people who, do accounting, people who are not tech savvy. People, I can do all of my work from a terminal and SSH, that's fine, but not a lot of people can, right? So if you want to have like corporate email or like work docs, right? Or work mail or whatnot, you want to have like a Windows desktop that one person can double click and launch and have their work environment on any computer they may have. This would be a great thing. So even if you have like an old PC, you can most likely run this and get better performance than that PC, right? So let's say you do like Visio or you do some CAD software or whatnot. We had one of our customers, I can't recall the name, and I wouldn't mention the name anyway. They used so much CAD software, right? So they had this big old CAD or computer assisted design, right, thing. The way they used it is basically they would use workspaces with graphics instances or graphics adapters, and they would use them to run this CAD software. Pretty cool. Let me see if I can do. I called it Nakatomi, right? Nakatomi. Yeah, it's Nakatomi. So the Workspaces client is kind of pre-installed or almost installed, and this basically gives you the ability to all files. That's it. Cool. So now this gives you the Workspaces directory or Workspaces thing here on your or Work Docs application on your Workspaces, and you can use Work Docs to basically will it work? It's the browser thing, right? Let me just move away from Internet Explorer for a bit. Boki asks, great stuff. I would love to see this possibility to try without AD as an individual. Now that is a feature I would love to see, right? So I would love if there was an ability to run all of this without actually having the need for having an Active Directory. Unfortunately, I believe the way this is built around the authentication and permission model, and even giving permission of the workspaces, will you have access through this client or that client, or just a login in general, is dependent on the directory. So simple AD is at least something you can do. Yeah, I agree. $40 for an AD for an individual is an overkill, right? And a lot of times I think that something like this for a single person may not be too successful. But again, maybe in the future we may be able to get a super simple small AD, for 10 users maybe, or 50 users, that might be cheaper. But there are some technical limitations. It's not just a matter of running a single server as an Active Directory. You need to have at least 2 failovers, etc., etc. But I fully agree. I think that would be a great opportunity to basically it would be great if we could just use it without an AD. Let me just see if this all works. Now, WorkDocs also has some pricing model. I have no idea how much does it cost, but yeah, for those who haven't seen WorkDocs, this is it, right? So it's a place where you can work, collaborate, and kind of do things on documents. So if you have Excel sheets of Word documents, you can comment on Word documents. It's a nice, neat collaboration utility. It's not Google Docs by any means, but it's cool. So yes, SQL Heisenberg says it's free for 50 users until June. Free as in Workspaces is free. But Simple AD, I believe, is not. So I may be wrong on that. So let me just have a look. I think pricing. Yeah. So yeah, correct. So the basically the beginning. So here's what the work from home offer is stands. Beginning April 1st, we are offering Amazon Workspaces for up to 50 users at no charge for new Workspaces customers. Offer availability through June 30th. So it does not include Simple AD, unfortunately. Yeah, for individuals it would be an overkill, right? Again, depending on what you need, right? I would say if you yourself alone want a workspace as a developer engineer, there's better ways to do it. If you want an IDE, there's Cloud9. If you want, a Windows instance, you can still launch an EC2 instance and work off of it with some limitations. But if it's a single person, limitations of running an EC2 instance with RDP is not that bad, right? If you're doing this through Workspaces to get the full benefit of the workspaces, such as application management, shutdown policies, user management, Simple AD makes sense then, right? So, and this is where you would. If you have a company, you have 10 users, 20 users, 50 users, I think this could be a great way to try it out, right? It kind of help you alleviate a lot of the. I used to be a local IT. I used to be a person who used to administer the local Active Directory and administer local users and set it up. It was a pain. And if I could have just given them a workspace and this would work that time, I would be super happy about it. Wow, there goes an hour. Jesus. Okay, I thought I couldn't spend an hour on this one, but apparently I can. Yeah. Thank you all for joining this stream. This stream will be available on Twitch and YouTube later on. So thank you very much for joining. I will be seeing you on Thursday. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about Thursday. I think I've made a little note what I should talk about, but I forgot. I'll let you know on Twitter and Twitch and all the social medias I use, so please feel free to follow me. Also tomorrow, for those of you who do not know, there is this thing happening on, if you want to listen to me talk about CDK, there is an event happening for the Nordic serverless community, organized by the Nordic serverless meetup. Basically, it's going to be streamed by YouTube. If you want, join me and my colleague Marcia talk about serverless stuff. I'm going to be talking about CDK, and Marcia is going to be talking about EventBridge. So if you're interested, join in, and I hope to see you there. Once again, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye-bye.